Hey there, IDS Mob. Welcome to the Harry's Dating Combos. I'm your host, as always, Harry Wilmington. This is the show where we talk about dating issues as it pertains to men and figuring out the best ways to help you in your dating life. So, today's show, pretty even keel. I have a lot of comments that I've gotten over the past week or so that I have just not gotten to. I normally do a live on Tuesdays, but I've been doing some other things. And so I figured, you know what? I got some time today, so I'm going to go through some of the various comments that I got and do a deep dive into some of these answers. Some will be longer than others because, depending on what they're asking, it may require more explanation than others. But I want to make sure that you guys are getting informed. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to get into that. And also, I'll be taking your guys' questions during the course of this show. So if you have a dating question that you want me to answer, then I can definitely get to it. Just leave your question in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer it for you during the course of this show. As always, this show is brought to you by my website, introvertdatingsuccess.com. And right now, I actually have a book over there that's been very, very popular, and it is my Stop Losing Women book. And this is the Stop Losing Women, the Ultimate Guide to Dating the Women of Your Dreams. This is a book that is based on a previous podcast I did that'll give you the ins and outs of how to meet and attract women, and more importantly, not lose them when you get them. So in addition to the ebook itself, what you get, you can go to the webpage, introvertdatingsuccess.com, click on the products tab, and then click on this book. You'll see it right in the products section. And you'll get to read everything this book is about. This is just a litany of things that you will learn by going through this book. So in addition to the main book itself, which is 258 pages, you can just roll through all that. You also get additional bonuses when you get this book. So we have a special report called Alphas Unleashed, 10 Ways to Harness Your Masculine Energy and Amplify Your Sexual Chemistry with Women. We also have a Holiday Dating 101 ebook, which is going to be great for you guys that are trying to date during the holidays that are coming up. It can be very, very hard to do so, but my guide will walk you through how to do that. And you also get a video bonus, which is called First Date Like a Boss. If you've ever wondered what you should be doing on your first dates in order to attract women the best way possible, then this video is like an hour long and it's going to give you a leg up in how to do that. So you can get all that stuff when you get the Stop Losing Women ebook today. Check out the website, see what it has to offer. If you like it, go ahead and get it. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the many questions and comments that I got over the course of the past week or so. And so first, we will answer this person's question. So I had a question from somebody, and their question was, Harry, what are your thoughts when a girl says that her giving you her number or even asking for yours is like if she reaches out 100 times, and that guys should be doing all the reaching out and asking out on dates, basically doing all the work? So I don't necessarily agree with the part of her comment where she's like, well, if I give you my number, oh my God, that's like me reaching out a whole lot. But it is a thing that women will do if they have high interest in getting to know you more. And for women, having to do any kind of approach at all is like a major step. Like it's a huge freaking deal to them, because on their side of the dating equation, their egos are tied up into feeling attractive and feeling wanted and being desired. And that comes from when men are approaching them and giving them attention. So if she has to go up to you and ask for that attention, then yeah, that's kind of like her stepping out of her comfort zone, because again, she's used to this idea of being approached. So to them, it feels like a major deal. So on that end of things, like them giving you the number isn't the biggest deal in the world necessarily to you. To them, it probably feels like it. I wouldn't equate that with them reaching out 100 times, but the fact that she even gave you the entryway to be able to contact her is pretty big in itself, right? So then at that point, at the point that you actually get her number or her Snapchat or whatever means of messaging she's given you, right? The part where she's saying that guys should be doing all the reaching out and asking out on dates, basically doing all the work, well, she's half right. The reality is that in the beginning of dating, you as the guy should be doing most of the reaching out. Now, where this gets mixed up in a guy's mind is they assume that that means that in addition to reaching out for dates, they also need to be reaching out to send good morning texts or to send how are yous or to inquire about her day. And that's where for a guy, it may seem like it's overload because you're thinking, great, so now I got to contact her for dates and contact her for all this extra texting. And what I try to stress to you on this program is that all that extra texting is not necessary. Like if you were the guy that she's assuming, if she's playing her part where she's like, okay, I'm going to let the guy come to me and, ask me for a date, then that is the only time you should be reaching out. You should be reaching out to ask her for the date, to plan the date out, and to, figure out what that's going to look like. But that's it. You shouldn't be doing all this extra. And where guys trip up is they want to do the extra, and then they get annoyed that the woman's not texting them back as much. When the reality is, you should not be using the phone to try to get to know her. You shouldn't be trying to build rapport, send emojis, send all these various memes and stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff you can do once you're in the relationship, and there's less likelihood of her like being annoyed by it. But in the beginning, yes, you should be doing all the reaching out to ask her out on dates. And what will happen is around date like 3 or 4, because let's be real, most women, if they're not feeling you, by date 2, they're probably going to get rid of you. Like really by date 1, but like some girls will be like, well, I need to go out again with them just to see whatever. And so they'll give you a second date and then they'll be out on their way, right? So on that end of things, you won't have to worry about if she's going to ever contact you, because after that second date, you'll probably reach out to her a third time and she'll be like, oh, well, something came up or my boyfriend's back or whatever. And it is what it is, right? But a woman that has agreed to like 3 or more dates, that's a woman that is starting to build interest in you, at which point you're going to see something interesting start to happen, which is that she's going to just randomly text you to ask you about your day, to ask you weird stuff like, how'd you sleep? Or what did you eat today for lunch? And that's an indicator that she's starting to like you. So if you keep your texting at a minimum when you're in the beginning and you just keep it to you're only using texting or calling to ask her on dates, then as she starts to like you more, she'll start to want more of your attention, at which point she'll know that the only way she can get more of that attention is if she comes to you. I've had several guys write me and say, hey, Harry, I've been seeing this girl for a while and I've been like following your texting thing. And then she came to me and said, hey, why don't you text me more often? That's what you want to happen, because that's going to let you know from her that she's starting to like you more and she wants more of your time and attention. And it's better for her to come to you and ask for more of your time and attention than for you in the beginning to just give it freely and then wonder why she's saying things like, well, this is going too fast, or I need a bit of space, or whoa, slow down there. Like if a woman's telling you that, that indicates that you're doing the most, and that's not good. And that's why one of the things I talk about in my ebook, in the Stop Losing Women ebook, is this idea of men think they need to be there all the time. And that's one of the things that causes you to lose women. As you start to apply patience to your game and you back off a bit, you will find that women will start to come to you and they'll be attracted to you a lot faster. So that's a good lesson to learn in general as a guy early on, is that yes, when you get her number, it is your job to reach out to her to ask for dates. It is not your job to reach out for anything other than that. And if she wants to talk to you more than that, let her be the one to reach out to you. And you might be thinking, but Harry, what if she's like traditional or like is like not texting me or reaching out to me between dates? She shouldn't technically be doing that. We've been tricked to believe that women should be talking to us all the time and wanting to reach out. But the reality is it's better for you to not have so much communication in between dates. You know what I think about? Because I thought about this today, right? Let's say you're going throughout your day and you get up in the morning and then you have a meeting to go to, some good news happens at your meeting, and then you go to lunch and you see this like really interesting thing, like you see a bird fly into a window or something, right? If you were not texting all the time, when you met the woman for the date, she'd say like, tell me about your day. And you'd be like, oh man, so I had this great meeting this morning. This deal happened that I really wanted to go through. And so I'm going to get some extra money from that. I'm excited. Oh, and then the weirdest thing happened during lunch. I was looking outside the window and I saw this bird just like bump into a window. And you'd have those stories to tell, versus if something happens in the morning at a meeting, you text her, hey, something great just happened at this meeting. I'm so happy about it. And then a bird hits the window. Hey, I just saw this bird hit the window. Oh my God, it was so weird. And then you meet up for dinner later. You've already talked about your day to her during the course of the day. You now have nothing to talk about, which makes the conversation boring or dead when you actually see her in person. Versus if you don't do that, you'll have more to talk about. So this is why I'm saying overall, yes, your job is the guy's communication early on to ask her on dates. Don't do more than that, and that's totally fine. But it's perfectly acceptable for women to assume if they give you the number, yeah, you're going to be the one reaching out to them until their feelings start to grow. And that's the part they're not going to be able to tell you, because they're going to understand the mechanics of guy needs to have number to hit me up first because I don't want to do that. The part they can't quite explain is that if they like you and they start to feel more things for you, even if everything in her body's like, but he's the guy, he needs to reach out, she's not going to be able to help herself but to reach out. And they can't tell you that part because you're a new guy. And so that means that she has no feelings for you yet. And that means that she doesn't know for sure if she's going to build enough feelings for you to want to be the one to reach out. And you can't ask that of her. You just have to know that if you're doing your part and being consistent and asking her out, and she's being consistent and saying yes to dates, after the third or fourth date, like clockwork, gentlemen, she will start to reach out. So hopefully that answers that guy's question. And by the way, guys, for those of you watching, if you have any dating questions you want to ask me during the course of the show, I'm happy to answer them on this live stream. Also, be sure to check by introvertdatingsuccess.com and check out my ebook, Stop Losing Women, the ultimate guide to getting the women of your dreams. I assure you, this 280-page book is chock full of ways for you to understand once and for all how women work and how to do the things the right way so you will stop losing women. So check that out at the website, as well as my various other ebooks and programs that are at the site. All right. So with that said, let's get into another comment that I got during the course of this week. Okay. So this guy had a question, and this guy's question is, how do you balance setting boundaries and being indifferent? A girl I'm dating said 2 days ago that she wants to hang out today, but I haven't heard anything from her and I haven't reached out. How can I be indifferent while also letting her know it's not behavior I accept? Okay, so this is the thing I see a lot of guys do, whereby a girl will reach out to them and say, hey, we should hang out sometime. And then the guy assumes that the next thing that's gonna happen is she's gonna come through with a plan and an idea for a thing to happen. I got news for you, guy. That's going to happen like 3% of the time. But the majority of the time, what's going to happen is when a woman actually reaches out to you, again, like I said with the previous comment, guy, women reaching out to you is already a big enough deal. They're telling you in no uncertain terms, hey, guy, I want to see you. And that is great. But when women do that, whether it's they've, walked up to you and given you the number, or like told you, hey, I want to hang out sometime, that is them giving you the reins to now do the rest. If she gives you the number, hey, here's my number. You should know how to call me or text me to get me on a date. So when a woman says, hey, I really want to hang out today, your job is to be like, hey, that's great. You know what? I already got an idea for something we can do. Now, you might hear that and be completely frustrated because you might be thinking, Harry, if she reaches out to me, like when I reach out to her, I've already got a plan in mind and I've already got a date idea set. And so that's what I expect from her. You cannot expect women to operate the same way that men do, okay? Because even a woman that likes you, that wants to spend time with you, is hoping that you like her enough to have ideas in your head about things you want to do with her. Now, you can be mad at that all day. I'm telling you, this is not going to change with women. So I'm not in the habit of trying to change how women are. I'm in the habit of learning how women are and adjusting my game accordingly. So I always have on deck restaurants I can go to, fun places to have fun, like bowling alleys, laser tagging, Top Golf in here in California is really, really fun. Like I always have on deck, I can go to Yelp. I can go to Groupon. I know where I can go online to find something to do. I can go, if you guys still use Facebook, because I'm older, so you may not use Facebook, but Facebook has a whole page called events, where in your town, you can click on events and you can find out all the stuff that's happening today, tomorrow, next week, and be set to go with plans. The point is, women, when they reach out to you, are giving you an opportunity to show that you know how to plan things, and they're giving you the opportunity to lead them, because they're going to follow your game plan, whatever you got ready, right? So I understand this guy's asking one question, but he's actually, by way of his other, the other thing you put here, he's actually asking two separate questions, because this isn't a matter of you're setting a boundary and trying to be indifferent. This is a matter of you're saying that the boundary that should be set is that if she reaches out to you and wants to plan some stuff and then she doesn't hit you back about anything, then it's going to mess up your day. But you just need to know as a guy, it's your job to have the plan. Now, you may be frustrated. You may say, but Harry, blah, 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 blah. Again, as I've said before, after date 4 or 5, a woman will typically start saying, hey, I got an idea. Come over to my place to cook a meal. Or, hey, I got a great idea for us to go out someplace because I want to treat you now. But until that happens, she's going to expect you to make the plan. Now, here's the other thing you may not be thinking about, right? Let's say you've taken a woman out on like 2 or 3 dates. And at this point, you've been a gentleman, but you've been flirty with her. You've kissed her, maybe even stuff like that, but you haven't gone all the way with her yet, right? So at the point that a woman is ready for that to happen, so she'll be like, okay, I want this to go down. But there's a problem. In our society, if she's the one that's trying to plan an event that could result in hookups happening, they look like a harlot. They look like a slore. They look like a 304. And they don't want that. So what they might do instead is say, hey, guy, they'll reach out and say, hey, I want to hang out. Now, for a woman, hang out could be code potentially for like, I want to just be around you and in a situation where things could happen. Notice she didn't say, he didn't say that she said that she wants a date. She said she wants to hang out. So some guys might take that as a negative or think, hang out sounds like friendship stuff. I've been in this game long enough. I've heard women tell me, hey, let's hang out and do something. And that do something means, hey, guy, it's on you to plan a date that if things just happen to go towards the bedroom, then, hey, that's something that you planned. And I was just a willing participant. And so women are going to play dumb. Women are going to play completely dumb to this idea of they can't set up a thing for hookup to happen. Now, once the hookups happen, then they're a lot more willing to plan something like that because it's already gone down. But for the beginning, she's leaving it in your hands. So she says to you, I want to hang out today. It's very open there, meaning, hey, whatever you want to plan, I'm down for. You as the guy got to know, okay, you plan something. You can plan something like, maybe like go out for like a little meal or like go out for like a bowling thing, but plan an activity and then plan something that can happen at your place. Hey, let's go get a quick bite to eat at Jersey Mike's, and then we'll come back here and we'll have a picnic on the floor and we'll watch a movie. Boom. You're getting her back to your place. You're allowing her to be able to spend time with you, and it's in your space where anything could happen. If you happen to get some Jersey Mike's and then a bottle of wine, I guess we got to have the sandwich and wine. Oh my God, I feel a little fuzzy because this wine is making me a little whatever. And next thing you know, boom, she's in your bed. But more importantly, you've now given her plausible deniability, meaning that she can go back to her friends and the story will not be, oh, I told him to come over here so we could do some stuff. And then we did some stuff. Because again, even if that's acceptable in today's society, it's still going to touch on her insides of like, I still feel like a 304 versus, hey, he set up a great thing. We just had a chill day. We went to get some sandwiches and then he got some wine and then we got back to his place. We turned on a movie. He played some really nice music. He started talking to me and I just started feeling these things. The next thing I know, oh my God, his tongue was down my throat and we did stuff. Like women would rather have that story. So when she's saying to you, hey, I want to hang out, don't be mad that she didn't come back to you about the whole, like she didn't actually plan a thing. Let it be taken as, oh, she's letting me plan this. She might want to do some stuff. Now, she might not, but either way, all you do is you plan the event. And then if the event happens to go your way, fantastic. If it goes a different way, hey, I always tell women, I'm just here to get to know you in whatever capacity and show you a good time. But that good time could include hooking up. Okay, so when women give you these kind of alley-oops, know what to do with this alley-oop. But again, you would know that kind of stuff if you read my book, Stop Losing Women, because this is a book that's going to teach you how not to lose women and the things you need to do in order to attract them and keep them around. So when women are giving you alley-oops, that's one of the things you got to learn early is that you got to know how to maneuver that into something that's going to benefit you. And more importantly, see when she's setting you up for the alley-oop. Lastly, in reference to his actual question, which is how to balance setting boundaries and being indifferent. So basically, let's say it's not the scenario. Let's say, they planned a date and then last minute she flakes and didn't tell him about it. And then they meet up later and it's like, oh, something came up and blah, 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 blah. Well, he might be thinking like, okay, I don't want to let her know I was butthurt by that, but I don't like the fact that she couldn't just hit me up and say, I can't make the date. What do I do? And so when I talk to you guys about being indifferent, I don't mean it as like not ever showing that you don't care. I refer to being indifferent as I don't want you to completely freak out on a chick when she does something that's not pleasing to you, because spoiler, all women are going to do something that you are not pleased with, even if it's unintentional. Even if she makes the food that you said, you're allergic to milk, and then she put milk in it for like the third time and she didn't mean to, just as what she's used to doing. They're going to eventually annoy you in some capacity, right? And so, but being indifferent is about being able to hold your frame and about being able to still be a steady rock. And that doesn't mean you can't express disappointment, For example, if I was going on a date, let's say I plan a date and a girl's like, is like 15 minutes late, right? So I learned early on that me trying to complain to women about like, I wish you would show up on time for dates and I wish that you blah, blah, blah. Like none of that works because they're going to do what they want to do, right? But I did find that if I was going on dating a woman with her, right? And let's say like it's like date 3 and we plan a date and I plan the date for like 7 o'clock and it's now 7:14 and she's not there yet. I just learned, okay, at 7:15, if she's not here, I'm out. And I literally have had it some times where like it would hit 7:15 and I would walk out the door. I'd go back home. I'd get a call from them like 5 minutes later. Hey, Harry, where are you at? Oh, I'm home. Well, why are you home? Well, we said 7 o'clock. It was 7:15, so I went home. This is me. I'm not showing any emotion. I'm not showing that I was hurt by it. I'm just being like, oh, she didn't want to show up for the date, so I'm going to go home and do other stuff. But she gets the memo that that's not acceptable behavior without me having to say, well, you being late, I just find it completely unacceptable. Because what does whining or pouting, how does that help you attract a woman? Like it doesn't. So I just let it be known. I just go home and I'll let them know like in real time so they can feel in a real way that this is not acceptable. I've had times where I've been in relationships with women where I'm like, hey, we need to leave at like 7 o'clock to go catch this movie. 7:01 hits, I get in my car. Hey, wait, I'm still done getting ready. Well, I'm not missing this movie. So either you follow behind me or just don't catch it. Like I do not care. And so again, that's being indifferent because the point of indifference is showing that basically whether she's there or not, you're going to go about your life and have a good time. Her being there would add to that good time, but it's not going to take away from it if she's not there. And I think what women can read off guys is that we get extremely butthurt if a woman we're dating or trying to get with isn't on our program, or our whole world will stop if the woman is like throwing us off in some way. Like, oh, she's not ready for the date yet. So, oh my God, she's holding me back from this. And why is she holding you back? Like she made the decision not to be on time. So you are making a decision to be on time. If those things don't line up, oh, well, if she gets mad at you later, then you can just be like, well, babe, next time be on time. Oh, but how could you just leave me this, blah, blah, blah. Babe. And again, I'm always calm. Babe, we knew what time the thing started, didn't we? I gave you an hour beforehand, right? Okay, so you didn't want to be on time. That's totally fine, but that's not going to hold me up. So next time, if you want to be on time, you know what it is. Now, I have found women in the moment, they get a little mad about that. They get a little angry. They pout and puff about it. But you know what happens next time? They're not late. So again, indifference I found typically tends to win. And in terms of trying to enforce or set a boundary, that's something that women like to do these days. Again, it's not a matter of you trying to verbally say, well, I'm going to set this boundary. It's just a matter of you, when a woman does something that's displeasing, you just decide you're going to go about your life and potentially without her. And you're totally fine with that. And women need to know that on some level, their guy can do without them. Like it sounds really backwards and weird, right? But I have found women respect men more that can seemingly do without them than men that are like, I breathe your air, and if you're not around, I'll completely die. Like that's a lot of pressure. Women don't typically like a lot of pressure. So if they're gonna choose between a guy that's gonna be like, you're my whole world and I need you, and a guy that's like, I want you around, but I'll still survive if you're not here. Sorry to say, guys, in my experience, I have found women like that guy instead. So do with that what you will. But hopefully, guy, that answers your question. And like I said, guys, I'm taking questions in the chat. So if you have any questions you want to ask me during the course of the show, I'm not charging any like super chats today. Although that said, if you like what I'm saying in this show, you can always support the show by giving a super chat or donating to the Cash App at $Harry Wilmington. And of course, you can always help yourself out by getting my ebook, Stop Losing Women, the ultimate guide to dating the women of your dreams. Gentlemen, if you want to know the ins and outs of how to keep women around once you actually get them, then this 280-page book will help you, in addition to the fantastic bonuses that come with it. So you can check all that out at the website. It's actually in the chat and the link, but you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com/products. You'll see it there. Check it out. I promise you, I've had a lot of people ordering this book this week. So that's why I'm like talking about it heavily on today's show, because people seem to really like this book. So there you go. All right, on to the next comment. Let me get my drink of water here real quick. All right. So we had another comment this week, and this guy said, I'm always the one who always texts her first. So I pulled away to see if she would reciprocate back, but no. And could it mean something different because she's from the Caribbean, or does that matter? So this is one of those things that a guy's coming in with an excuse as to why this woman's not trying to text him. Oh, it's because she's Caribbean, or oh, it's because she's gone through a hard time, or oh, her family life, this and that. Look, guys, I really want to stress to you, when women like you, they help you, and they will do everything possible to let you know that they want to spend time with you. And when women don't like you, or let's not say don't like, when women have a low interest in getting with you, that's when you're going to have the most problems. That's when you're going to get the so-called mixed signals. And by the way, guys, spoiler, mixed signals is not a thing. It's a thing that guys made up, or things people made up in general when they want something and they think it wants them back, but then they're not quite getting the response that they want in a fast enough amount of time. So they think, oh, it's not that they don't want me, it's that it must be mixed signals. But here's my thing. If mixed signals equals you not getting a date, then it's still a no. Rarely are mixed signals going to be things that are going to result in a woman deciding, oh, you know what? They're not mixed anymore. I now want him. So this thing of, oh, I'm always texting first, but she's not texting me, she's not reciprocating texting, it's because she's not interested. Like, I wish I could make that answer longer, but she's not interested, because women that like you would text you back. But more to the point also, this really gets more so into the idea that he says, I'm always the one that's texting first. Why is he texting her? Because unless he's texting her to get dates specifically, then he is wasting his time and her time trying to do all this extra texting. But I can imagine this is one of those guys that's like, but I send a good morning text every morning and she doesn't send me one, or I ask her about her day and she doesn't text me and ask me about my day, because she doesn't want to do that. Like, women want to save most of their conversation for like in person. Now, some guys will hear that and think, but Harry, women are on their phones all the time, talking to their family and talking to their, other people that they're close to. Why wouldn't she text me? One, she's not dating all those people. But number two, those people have been in her life for a while. So there's no exercise she has to go through of having her brain convince her that she wants to be around these other people. It's already done that. But for you being new stimuli, her brain hasn't done that yet. So her brain needs to go through the exercise of deciding if she wants to choose you. And every time you text her first, you're taking away from the exercise she needs to do of thinking, let me reach out to him. I can guarantee you, this guy probably had a shot. There was probably a point in time when they maybe went on a date or something like that. And so she was at home thinking about him like, oh, that great date was so great. Oh my God, like I had a great time with him. I can't wait to see him. And then as soon as she's thinking that, what is it? She sees come through her phone. Oh, he's texting me right now. So now you've interrupted her thought process where she can think about you and decide on her own accord, based on her experiences with you, that she really wants to spend more time with you. Because what you're doing by texting her nonstop is forcing her to talk to you. You're forcing her to have communication. You're basically saying, hey, talk to me now. I'm in front of you. Please respond back. And that kind of energy, sorry to say it, guys, but not really, that kind of energy is not attractive to women. So what this guy should have done from the beginning is not be texting her all the time. He should have waited until he's ready to ask her for a date. And then if she only responded when he reached out to her, that'd be fine, because he's only reaching out to her to get dates. And women of their own accord, as they get to like you more, will text you on the days that you're not trying to text them for dates. It really is that simple. But as guys, we make it hard. But suffice to say, stop making excuses. Oh, she came from this kind of background, or she was dealt with this with her ex, or oh, she's going through stuff in school and therefore blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is always, always, always. If she likes you, she helps you. And if she don't, she won't. So if you find that you're not getting the responses you want, first check how often you're texting and curtail that way back. But also look for, is she constantly flaking on dates? Is she always saying, oh, I'll get back to you, and then she doesn't do it? Is she, oh, I meant to invite you someplace, but then it didn't happen? Those are all not mixed signals. Those are all indicators that she has low interest. She doesn't know how to verbalize that to you. And so she's giving you breadcrumbs to put hope on. And that hope has been long gone, just long gone. So let's just put that out. Just stop making excuses for women. I know our ego is trying to think of logical reasons why a woman that said that she liked us at one point is suddenly showing low interest. Happens all the time. You're not going to change these women's minds. And especially you're not going to do it by being in her presence all the time. So just know what it is and back off. So hopefully, Guy, that answers your question. And like I said, guys, I'm answering your guys' questions today. So if you have any questions you want to ask me during the course of the show, you can definitely do that, and I'll be happy to answer them. Let's see, real quick. I'm going to fill up my water real quick, and then we'll finish the rest of these questions here. So in the meantime, feel free to check out a bit more about the ebooks that I have to offer at my website. Hey guys, Harry Wilmington here, and I just want to tell you really quickly about some of the awesome ebooks that I have available at the website. So to start off with, we have my brand new book, Stop Losing Women, which is based off of my previous podcast, and it's over 284 pages of life-changing advice for your dating life. You're going to discover in the span of these pages the ins and outs of how to become more confident, the do's and don'ts of how to attract women, how to pace yourself during the dating process, and ultimately what it truly takes for you to be a more confident dater so that way you can get out there, attract women, and more importantly, stop losing women, okay? The other ebook that I have on my website is called No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams. This is the first book that I ever wrote, and simply put, it is a 12-chapter masterpiece that is designed to, in a very funny way, mind you, guide you through the ins and outs of why all the things you're trying to do right now to attract women can actually cause you to lose them. I mean, things like being the nice guy, overextending yourself, getting too many gifts, too many compliments, and a variety of other things that you may think as a guy I should be doing. This funny book's going to help you figure out once for all why you should not do those things and how to better yourself instead. So be sure to check that book out as well. The other book that's been very popular at my website is called Texting Like a Boss. This is where, for all you guys out there that have problems texting women or don't understand why she starts off so chummy in the terms of the texting things, and then she starts to kind of go away and you can't figure out what's going on or why, or you're not an efficient enough texter to be able to actually get dates by way of texting. Well, this book is going to give you 21 do's and don'ts that are tried, true, and tested, so that way you can get the results that you want with women when you're texting them, and ultimately not do the wrong things that are going to cause her to eventually ghost you in the texting realm. All right, so check that book out at the website. Lastly, my other popular book that I have there is called 10 Steps to Winning Back Your Ex, the step-by-step, no-nonsense guide to reconnecting with an old flame, regardless of who ended the relationship. And so for you guys that are like, hey, I think I lost a great one, and she left me and I want to get her back. Or you might have been the guy that's like, hey, I dumped her and then I realized I made a mistake and I want to get her back. Well, this book covers both of those scenarios in a very detailed step-by-step way that is designed to allow you to figure out what you did wrong, how you can show up better, and the sequence of events you need to go through in order to effectively win back the woman that you are no longer with. So if these things sound like things that'll be helpful to you, then definitely go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, click on the products tab, where you can find a summary of all these books as well as my various programs, and they will be more than happy in helping you figure out whatever part of the dating journey you're on, so that way you will not be confused and you will ultimately be able to have the dating life that you want. So check those out at the website today. All right. And by the way, guys, all those other books, aside from the Stop Losing Women one, are part of a bigger program. You can get all those books in this program called the Introvert Dating Success Coaching Program. And this is my community where I have all of my various video programs stored. So if you've ever wanted to know, like I have my top secret dating blueprint in there that walks you through how to meet, greet, attract, land, keep, and ultimately date the women of your dreams. So literally like a step-by-step process of what to do during the 90 days when you're going through the dating process to escalate her attraction to the point where she wants to come to you and ask for a relationship. So that's in there. The program about how to do smart digital dating, doing online dating is in there. Bunch of audios about how to communicate with women, interviews with experts. Like you can go to the page and read it yourself. You can do that. Just go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and check that out. That's there. In addition to, of course, the book that I'm showing you guys today, Stop Losing Women. So check all that out at the website when you get a chance. All right. In the meantime, guys, like I said, this show is about you. So, I only have a few more comments left to answer. If you guys have any questions you want to ask me about something you're going through right now, or just dating questions in general, I am more than happy to answer them. Just leave them in the chat and I'll answer them. All right. So let's go on to this next comment that I got this week. So, okay. So this is a comment that I'm sure you've probably had before, but I thought it was rather interesting. So this guy says, how do you know so he says, how to know what I'm doing wrong if she's not saying it clearly and I cannot ask because that's needy, LOL. So I think I did a video talking about like how women can, the feeling women get when you're doing the wrong things and what to do and all this other stuff. And so it's an interesting question, right? Because the question is basically saying, okay, so Harry, you're saying that, I need to not do the wrong things. But I'm trying to ask women what those things are. But apparently, if I ask them that, then I appear needy or desperate. And so that's not really what's going on. Like on one hand, depending on what you're asking, you could look needy, but it's more about this. It's this idea that women ultimately want to date men that seem to know what they're doing with women. And it's funny because I've had a lot of conversations this week with friends of mine about younger women dating older men. And there's always this viewpoint from older women that older men are only going after younger women because they can manipulate them easier. And it's because, they can control them and all this other stuff. And I said, with the reverse, I said, let's do the counterpoint of that. The reason that older men can date younger women is because younger women are seeking out older men. When I was in high school, I had friends of mine that were 17 years old that were seeking out 25-year-olds. I had a friend of mine years ago who was like 32 that was dating a 50-year-old, and that happens quite frequently. So, and the reason that they do that is because this is the viewpoint, the older you are as a guy, women feel like you've got more of your life put together, you're more established. And so therefore, you're more of a safe bet, not just in terms of like money and houses and stuff like that, but more about you feel like a more safer bet for her stability. You're old enough to have gone through a lot of BS and learn from it. And so ideally at this point, she knows that you're somebody that she can trust. She can follow your leadership. You're not going to bring her in harm's way. Ideally by that, the older you get, you've learned to chill out a bit about letting things be like rock you, or you're more indifferent to things. So you're not so overly emotional when things happen, because women, as they get older, they can still be emotional. But what they don't want is a guy that's equally as emotional. Like I talked about how women don't want guys that are in touch with their emotions. They want a guy that's going to be able to handle their emotions. The older a guy is, women are thinking he can handle my emotions a lot better than a younger guy can. Okay. And so because of that, it's one of those things where when you go to a woman and they're like, hey, so tell me what I need to do to please you, or, what can I do, princess, to make sure you're happy? Or, oh, please tell me what I did wrong. It's not that those are bad questions to ask. It's just, it makes women feel more and more like you don't really get them, which now hits at their safety. Because whether we like it or not, guys, if a woman is not feeling like you can handle her or be able to handle your guys' situation, that's not going to make her feel safe, and she's going to lose interest, okay? And so the thing that I try to teach you guys is this, is that it's not about, going to women and saying, well, what things am I doing wrong? Can you tell me? Because I can assure you, if that woman tells you, she's probably not going to date you. You can go to other women and ask, and even then, their viewpoint of things is going to be a bit askew. That's why it's better to go to guys that have been successful in relationships so they can tell you what's up, right? But this is why I have a channel, because I understood that when I tried to go to women to ask them, what am I doing wrong and what's up? I found they couldn't really tell me. Like, for one, there's a component where them being in it, they don't know exactly what it is. They just feel wrong. Like they feel an ick, but they can't explain it. They feel a weird thing around you, but they can't explain to you what the energy is that's making her feel weird, right? But then the other part is that you asking a woman to directly tell you what you're doing wrong, that means she has to dip into her bag of potentially being a mean person. And most women aren't trying to be mean people. And sometimes the thing you're doing could be something mean she has to tell you. For example, there was a guy that I went to college with. He had the worst smelling breath. It literally smelled like crap. Anytime somebody got next to him, he started talking, his breath was just, right? Couldn't understand why he couldn't get women. And no woman would tell him, your breath smells like crap, because that is a mean thing to say. And more importantly, women have had the experience of telling guys exactly what it is, and guys freak out. That's not a thing, or you're just a bee, or your breath smells too. And so you're not going to get the feedback you want. And if you did get it, she thinks it's going to hit at your ego. So then she loses. So this is why I create a channel. That's why I create ebooks, audiobooks. This is why I have coaching sessions, because your job as a guy, you have to go out there of your own accord and study women. And part of that's going to mean you're going to have to go through a lot of trial and error. You're going to go out with a woman. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to go home and try to text her again for another date, and she's not going to accept it. You got to sit there and think about, okay, what happened during this date that potentially turned her off? Was it something I said? Was it the cologne I wore? Was it the clothes I wore? Was it the topics I brought up? Was it the way that I joked about a certain thing? Did I dig at her in the way that wasn't too cool? Was I trying to like neg hit her? Was it the restaurant? Did the restaurant that I planned out crappy? Were the clothes that I wore just like tattered and not ironed? Like, you got to analyze that. And then you analyze and you say, okay, I think objectively it was probably this thing. So the next date, I won't try that. You go on the next date and you don't do that thing, and you get the second date. Fantastic. Go on the second date, and then something else happens. She's no longer interested. You got to go home. Okay, I got to the second date, but not the third one. What happened? Sometimes it's stuff you did, or maybe during the course of the date, you learn some stuff about her. Your political ideologies are different, or she's got an ex in the background, or something that just lets you know, oh, this is probably not going to go my way. And you know what? That exercise sucks. But you go through it more, and you'll start to find that you get better at it each time, because ultimately you'll end up learning a bunch of lessons based on your real experience. And then you'll be able to understand more. Okay, I know not to do X, Y, and Z. You know, simple stuff, right? I learned in college that, because I didn't know this, because I was a virgin in college. I didn't know that asking women to dinner and a movie at my place was code for sex. And so I'm thinking, I got a bunch of female friends. I made a bunch of food at home, and I got a movie I want to see. I'll just invite one over just to hang out. Had no idea. So I had to learn, oh, okay, so if I say dinner and a movie, probably not going to get a girl to say yes on the first, if I'm asking her to come to hang out with me for the first time. Okay, let me just remove that from the book. So then I just asked them out on outside dates, and I found by date 2 or 3, oh, now they're willing to come to my place. But I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't go through the trial and error of it. So all that to say is that as much as you hope that women are going to tell you what you're doing wrong, the reality is, one, they're probably not going to. B, something that you conceivably did wrong, the alpha chat over here that she likes or has high interest in could do that same thing, and it'd be totally fine. So it's not even necessarily a matter about right or wrong, but there is something to be said of like, if you're not able to properly build up her attraction, then yeah, it's going to seem like you're doing a lot of things wrong. But that starts with you knowing as a guy, A, just the ins and outs of how women work, and then also what things are generally going to attract them. I say generally because women like to come on here sometimes and say, but I'm different, or, well, I fell for a guy that did this and you said they shouldn't do that. So these are generalities that I give you, meaning they should generally work. I don't teach you guys about outliers because I want you to have a better shot and a better probability of getting a woman based on what actually works for the majority of them. So you do enough stuff and you learn the right things, and you'll find that your results will be a lot better to where you won't have to ask them, or you'll be on a date and you'll do something and be like, oh, that was the wrong move, but you'll know it a lot faster than you would have. But that speaks to you have to go out there and get the practice. And the problem that you may be having is that you're simply not getting enough practice with women, because if you don't get enough practice, then everything's theory. Look, I think my videos are great. My ebooks are great. My video courses are amazing. I've had so many guys write me and say, Harry, I've gotten into relationships because of you. I've gotten a girlfriend because I listened to what you said. But you know why they got that feedback? Because they went out there, heard my stuff, and then practiced it. If you're just being an internet or keyboard jockey, you will never get the practice. You might be in your head be like, oh, I know all this stuff now. But back in the day, I was the keyboard jockey. I would go to like online, I would go to forums where guys are talking about dating, and I would suck up all the stuff that I could. And I'd be like sitting there like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. But until I went out and practiced it, totally different, because going out and practicing it, I'd be like, okay, I thought I knew everything, and then I tried this thing, and I got thrown for a curveball because I didn't know this other thing that I needed to know. But now I know that because I have tactile evidence and proof, and I was able to feel it, and I know it, and it's good. So yes, listen to my stuff, listen to the free stuff, buy the stuff that I'm selling, but also use it. Go out there and actually practice it, actually get some real world experience, and that's going to help you know a lot more about what you're actually doing wrong, so that way you won't have to ask women. Because again, most women either don't know how to tell you, or aren't able to verbalize that you doing a thing versus somebody else, it's different, you know? So hopefully that answers that guy's question. All right. Got a couple more comments here. Actually, just got one more comment. I got one more comment I'm going to answer, but that's it, guys. If you have any questions you want to ask me during the course of the show, then leave it in the chat. I'll be happy to get to it. Okay, let's get to this last guy's comment. So this guy asked the question. He said, I really think I lost a good girl with my ex. And I talked to you before about this, and you said since she doesn't have social media and there's me being corny in our text from a year ago, there wasn't much I could do. What would you do if you had to beg her for your life? Like, what do you think? Well, I'm not at the stage in my life where I think I have to have any particular woman. And by default of that, it allows me to be open to the idea that any woman I come across could be somebody that I connect with, you know? And so my lesson is don't get one-itis. Don't get hung up on one woman so much that you just absolutely have to make it work. Also ask yourself the question, why do you feel the need to bag her? Like the phrase bag her sounds like you want to just add her to the list of women that you were able to convince that you were able to go out with and get and hook up with and whatever. And so that's really like more how a younger man thinks, because at a younger age, your testosterone's flowing a whole lot. I'm 42. Mine has died down to where it's like, if I have a hot naked girl in my bed, I could be like, I want to bang her, or I could play video games. And sometimes video games went out because I'm like, I'll get to that later. That was not my thought process. At 18, it's like any woman that's here, any woman that's willing to say, again, I was a virgin until I was 23. So, but anyway, yeah, any woman that's here, that's willing to give me attention in that way, I'm just automatically going to. But you learn as you get older that sometimes the women you think you want to bag aren't worth bagging. Like I had women I had crushes on in college that I look at now and I'm like, oh, I dodged a bullet. I dodged a soul tie. I dodged somebody I'm going to be feeling feelings for long after we've hooked up. Thank God, right? And so I say this to say that ultimately, don't be so concentrated on the past. Don't be so concentrated on, I didn't get a girl, I have something to prove. All that's just ego. That's your ego saying, I didn't get to win her over, so now I got to prove something to myself by getting her. It's not fair to you because you should be moving on. And it's not fair to that woman that you're essentially just trying to prove to yourself that you can get her, but without taking it into consideration that, but how's that going to affect her? Like, how is you bagging her just to say, oh, I got to bag her, going to make her feel in the long run once you just get rid of her? Because you could bag her and be like, yeah, I bagged her, and then leave her to the side of the road again. And now she has to live with that. And she has to deal with that. And I'll be real. Like, you know, there have been women that I got a chance to date that like, it didn't work out. And so I had to dump them. And it's like, I still think about like, oh crap, some of them are probably still single, or some of them just, whatever experience they had with me, they weren't able to move on. Like that stuff is real. So you got to be mindful that when you're dating women, it's not just about you getting your rocks off or about, you know, you having the best time with her. It's about you're taking this person in and basically saying, as the guy, I'm going to try to, you know, be understanding of your feelings and take care of you. And that's very selfless. You just trying to bag a woman to bag her is very selfish, and it's not fair to them. So that's how I think about that kind of stuff. But hopefully that answers your question. All right. Yes, we got a question in the chat. Let's go. All right. We got a question in the chat. And the question goes, what's your take on playing the mysterious card by not showing up the social circle for a while? There's a girl who friend zoned me after one date and things seemed too platonic. I'm all for it. Like, because how do I say this? Because, you know, I've talked on the show before about how I've been in situations where like I'll go to a party that my friend's throwing and I'll see a girl that I want to get with, at which point I will talk to like every other person in there except for her. And then at the end of then once I'm done talking to all of them, I'll like make myself be somewhere near her to start a conversation. And then we'll build a nice talking rapport. At the point that I get the number, I bounce, because I know that less of me at this point is more. So if you find that there is a woman that is in your circle and you've gone out on a date and then she friend zone you, it is not your job to continue to just be around her if you don't want to be. Now, you can play this one or two ways. One way is you could say, tell your friends, hey, let me know if she's going to be at this thing and I won't show up. You could do that, but it's fine. Like then she'll, at some point she might be like, hey, you know, where'd you go? What's been up with you? But that doesn't always necessarily mean that she's going to fall for you. Like, I want you to understand that, like, most women at the point that they put you in the friend zone, that they're really not trying to do more than that, right? But that just means you don't have to overreach. Like, she said the friend zone thing, fine. Just don't reach out to her to do solo stuff. Now, the other way is, let's say she's in your friend circle, right? So that means inevitably your friends are going to ask you to hang out with them in whatever capacity. When you're in these circles, just make it a point to not initiate conversation with her as much. Like, let her be the one coming to you to start conversations, at which point you're cordial. Oh, hey, so-and-so, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. How's things going? Okay, great. Blah, 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 blah. Back over here, right? And so subconsciously, she'll start thinking, I keep going to him to start conversations. He's not coming to me. Oh, what's that about? He must be butthurt that we weren't dating. But then she'll start thinking, but wait a minute, but I keep going to him. I keep talking to him. I keep choosing to go over to him to start a conversation. And so sometimes women need to do that exercise on their end to make themselves think, oh my God, I keep going over to him because I think I still kind of like him maybe. And that's the part that a lot of men don't get, is that for women, building attraction for you is about feelings. And so sometimes they need to legit feel a thing before they'll have, strong emotions for you. And so that could very well mean if she sees you hanging out with the friend circle, then she's coming over to you nonstop. She'll start feeling that every time you guys hang out, you're not going to her, she's coming to you. She's coming to you. She's coming to you. She's coming to you. And then also the times that you're not there, hey, where's so-and-so? Why does she keep asking about you? I keep asking about him because I must really like his company and like him around. Now, I will say, I don't want to tell you all this with you expecting that you doing those things is going to result in her wanting to get you out of the friend zone. At the end of the day, I find it's better for you to move on from that situation and start seeing other women, which adds to my other thing, which is that kitty cats compete. And sometimes the faster way for a woman to show interest in you is to see or know that other women have interest in you. So you ignore this chick. You go out, start dating other people. Then you all get together in the friend group. She comes over to you. Hey, so-and-so, what you been up to? Oh, I've been just hanging out, chilling. I had a date last week and then I did some stuff at school and blah, blah, blah. Just normal stuff. Act like it's just part of your normal day in conversation and see how quickly she starts to flirt with you. I know this because I've done it. And it's amazing how much a woman would want to get on you once she knows another woman's on you. Now, does that mean that she's a quality pick? I have found that that's a harder one to answer because women typically just operate like that. Like, women are always looking for dudes that they know that other women want. And so because that's what they typically do, I can't fully say she's complete trash for that. All right. She'd be more trash if she was like trying to actively break you up from another woman. But in terms of like her liking you because she knows another woman potentially likes you, that's par for the course with women. That's typically how that goes. So, but hopefully some of what I said will help you out with your situation. All right. So guys, I guess that's it. Like, if there's no more questions, that's really all I have today. Be sure to go to my website and check out my ebook, Stop Losing Women, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams, which again, not only do you get this amazing 280-page book, but you also get some amazing bonuses. This is explaining all the stuff you get with it. You can check it out at the website to read for yourself, but you also get some bonuses. You get Alpha Unleashed, 10 ways to harness your masculine energy and amplify your sexual chemistry with women. So you can read all about what that entails. You also get a special report, Holiday Dating 101. This is a PDF guide that's going to give you the 10 steps that you need to use during the course of dating during the holidays to be able to get women. Because let's be real, holidays are a hard as heck time to date. And most guys are going to mess it up because they're asking women out at the wrong times. They're trying to invite them to the wrong things. And I want to make sure that you are prepared. So that comes as part of your ebook purchase. And of course, for those of you guys that are like, but Harry, what do I do on a first date? Gotcha, right here. With the video bonus, First Date Like a Boss, which is an hour-long video that walks you through everything you need to be doing on first dates to be assured that you've built up your feelings enough to get a second one, all right? That comes with the ebook purchase. And then lastly, I forgot to mention this also, you get another bonus, which is you get 3 free live interviews with the Dating Experts audio. So as part of my Introvert Dating Success Academy community, I have a bunch of audios whereby I interviewed over like 30-something experts that give their take on dating relationships, right? So I've included 3 of those audios as bonuses for when you get the Stop Losing Women ebook. So again, you can check that out at the website. Check it out. And I promise you guys will get a kick out of it and what it has to offer, because it's helped a lot of guys already, which is the only reason I've been talking about it extensively on today's show. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking me out. I know this was an impromptu live, but I appreciate everybody that stopped by and said hi and what's up. And yeah, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it with somebody else that may need help in the dating world. And I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.